In the late 90s, Bill Goldberg became an overnight sensation when WCW decided to make him into a beast who would have an undefeated winning streak. Of course, there was a downside to Goldberg. He lacked experience as proven in a match against William Regal. Still, it didn't stop his run, and he would go on defying the NWO and win the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. However, the mania that was Goldberg was cut short thanks to poor booking, an oddly lack of PPV title matches, and Kevin Nash ending the streak. In our version, we would continue the streak as it would go on well into July of 1998. Goldberg is the WCW United States Champion and would defeat Scott Hall to retain the title on Nitro. That same night, instead of facing Hogan, which was a move to counter the WWE's rating wins, Goldberg here would challenge Hollywood Hogan for the world title at Bash at the Beach, an actual PPV. Hogan refuses as he is already in a match with Dennis Rodman, DDP, and Karl Malone. Goldberg says he will quit the WCW if he doesn't win. Hogan laughs and says he has to vacate the US title as a condition. Goldberg accepts. At Bash at the Beach, Goldberg and Hogan clash in the main event, and with the jackhammer heard around the world, Goldberg captures the WCW World Heavyweight Championship, making it his 108th straight win. This is the last time they keep count and just keep it as a winning streak. Goldberg would go on several weeks defeating his opponents till Road Wild on August 8. He faces the Giant and gets in an impressive jackhammer to retain the title. Goldberg would then be at odds with Sting, who makes a return and challenges for the title. They first team up against both NWO factions. However, Sting would betray Goldberg, making him lose by countout and join NWO Wolfpack. While Goldberg's streak could be seen as over, the WCW play it off that Goldberg had never lost by pinfall or submission. At Fall Brawl in the main event prior to the War Games match between WCW, NWO and NWO Wolfpack, Sting manages to get in the deathlock on Goldberg, only for Goldberg to break out of it, get on his feet and land a spear and jackhammer for the win. Goldberg offers to shake Sting's hand and Sting does so out of respect. On the next night on Nitro, Goldberg arrives backstage but is suddenly attacked by a masked individual. The masked man breaks his legs as he's taken out on an ambulance. Due to Goldberg's injury, he is forced to vacate the world title, though an investigation goes underway. DDP at Halloween Havoc would win the championship after beating Hall, Nash, and Meng in a fatal four-way. A few weeks later, it's revealed that Goldberg will be making a return at World War III. At World War III, Goldberg goes on to win the 60-man Battle Royal match for a shot at the world title at Starrcade. DDP later that night defeats US champion Bret Hart to retain the world title. Goldberg soon learns that DDP was the mystery masked man, which leads to a feud between the two in a match at Starrcade. During the match, both NWO factions try to get DDP to join them, even interfering in the match, but Goldberg was able to handle them all, and even DDP was annoyed that he rejected anyone's help. Goldberg pins DDP to regain the world title for a second time. The NWO factions reunite for Sold Out and they want a piece of Goldberg. Goldberg demands a stipulation that if he wins that night, the NWO is disbanded forever. They challenge him to a gauntlet in the main event. Goldberg goes for it, facing Luger, Hall, Nash, Conan and lastly Curt Hennig in a single night. After defeating all five, the NWO is officially destroyed. Goldberg becomes the savior of WCW. Ric Flair returns and offers Goldberg to become his manager, and Goldberg sees it as an honor. Hollywood Hogan returns to WCW after an absence, learning that the NWO is no more. He challenges Goldberg for the title at Super Brawl X. In return, he will retire from the WCW if he loses. The match goes well and Goldberg dominates the second half. As he goes for the jackhammer, Ric Flair jumps in and smashes a chair over Goldberg's back. Goldberg drops Hogan. Flair smashes it over his head a record 7 times for Goldberg to finally drop. Hogan rolls over for the win. Hogan and Flair celebrate. This ends Goldberg's streak. Hogan and Flair start a new stable of older stars versus the New Blood, till Goldberg regains the title later that year for a third run. What do you think of this storyline? Would it have worked and saved WCW? Or was WCW just doomed against the onslaught of the Attitude Era? Comment, like, subscribe, and thank you for watching In the Plot.